The movie opens with 8 candidates preparing for an exam to determine if they get hired for a highly desirable corporate job. As soon as the group enters the room, they are met with a man who informs them that he is the invigilator. There are 8 desks in the room, with a piece of paper on the desk that has the candidates' numbers written on the front page. Once everyone is seated, the invigilator starts speaking and tells them that many people have reached this stage. However, they have failed to answer the question and were disqualified because of it. He also tells them that the candidates have to follow a few rules and begins listing them. The first rule is that no one can choose to leave the room or they will be disqualified. They cannot talk to the invigilator or the guard who is stationed at the door. The candidates also can't ruin the paper they have been given. If it gets ruined in any way, they will be disqualified. There are no laws inside the room. The only thing they will have to follow are the rules given to them. The paper in front of them has one question, and everyone must give one answer. Before the invigilator leaves, he sets a timer for 80 minutes and asks if they have any questions. As soon as he leaves, all of the candidates flip their question papers around.
What happens next? A. The candidates find the paper is completely blank. B. The candidates find a series of complex equations. C. The candidates see a set of riddles to solve.
However, they are surprised to find that it is empty. Minutes go by and everyone is left confused because there is no question for them to answer. A Chinese woman begins to write why she thinks she deserves the job, when all of a sudden, the guard gets up and drags the woman out of the room. Despite her begging the guard to give her another chance, he ignores her and throws her out. Seeing this, all of the candidates begin to feel anxious since they don't know what to do next. Not being able to handle the silence, a man named White breaks the silence and tells the candidates that the invigilator did not tell them about a rule that stops them from talking to each other. He points out that they need to pay attention to what the invigilator hadn't told them. With only 73 minutes left to attempt the questions, he tells the other candidates that they have to help each other. When another candidate known as Brown asks White why he should help him, White replies that they are in competition to answer the question, not finding the question itself. With no other choice left, everyone agrees to cooperate until they can find the question, and then everyone will go their separate ways. White tells everyone they cannot reveal their real names, since the question paper doesn't have them either. Once they agree, White names everyone according to either their hair color or their race. The candidates consist of black, brown, white, blonde, brunette, dark, and deaf. Feeling confident, White decides to test some more limits and stands up, saying that the invigilator had not forbidden them from walking around in the room either. As he starts walking around, Brunette suggests that the question could be on the paper, but they are unable to see it. Blonde suggests that it might have been written using invisible ink, and Brunette uses light to try and uncover the question. When she doesn't find anything, Blonde again suggests that they could try shading the paper to reveal the question. Before she can do anything, Black reminds her that she will be disqualified if she ruins her question paper. While everyone argues back and forth over where the question could be, Dark tells them that the question might be hidden in different places for each candidate. This would mean that each one of them gets a different question that they have to answer. Despite everyone agreeing with what Dark had said, there is little that they can do. At this point, Black tells the group that they might not be able to see the question because they need light that they can't see, like ultraviolet rays. But the only problem is, they can't leave the room either or they'll be disqualified. Just then, Blonde notices a small opening in the walls where emergency lights are located and asks the group to look for switchboards so that they can turn the lights off. Once everyone searches the room, they conclude that they need to create an emergency for the emergency lights to turn on. Not everyone agrees with the plan since they think that it might fail, because of which they will be stuck in a total blackout. So White suggests that they should vote. Other than Dark, Brown, and Deaf, everyone votes to break all the lights in the room to trigger the emergency lights. Then, White grabs a chair and starts breaking the lights with the help of others. Once all of the lights are broken.
What happens next? A. Blue UV light turned on and the candidates find nothing on the paper. B. Red light turned on and they find the question. C. The invigilator returns with a new challenge.
Blue emergency lights are turned on. Everyone once again holds their papers up in front of the light, but nothing shows up. Dark points out that they have not broken all the lights, and that she can see another one inside. At that moment, Black picks up a broken piece of red glass and claims that they need infrared light, something that is invisible to the eye, to be able to see the question. This time, everyone takes part in breaking the light except for Def, who remains seated. Red lights turn on inside the room, but even then, the group is not able to see the question. With only 60 minutes left, everyone begins to feel anxious because they have burned through a quarter of their time. White wants to test all theories, which is why he picks up the paper left behind by the Chinese girl and reminds everyone that they can ruin her paper, but not their own. He begins shading the paper, but still the question does not show up. White then tears the paper in half.
What happens next? A. White uses a lighter to reveal a hidden message. B. He urinates on the paper. C. He eats the paper.
And tells everyone to somehow get it wet. He then urinates on the piece of paper in his hand, but when the others ask him to bring it over to them so that they can see if the question has appeared, White refuses to do so. While the group is arguing among themselves, Def starts talking. Shocked to hear his voice, White mocks that he can speak. Def speaks in French, and only Dark can understand him. He points towards the broken pieces of glass on his table and says something in French. Dark translates it and tells everyone that he keeps telling them to look closer. Not being able to understand what he means, White gets annoyed and dismisses him. From the back, Brown speaks up and claims that they are not in a conventional exam setting. He thinks that they are in a game, one that is being watched by former VPs. Their room is full of people who are representative of each ethnic background, meaning that it is a diverse group. He thinks that there is no question, but rather they are being judged based on who comes up with ideas and initiates them. Behind him, Dark disagrees with the theory. She tells them that the CEO is a hands-on person. If anyone is watching them other than the invigilator, it is probably the CEO. This knowledge catches Brown off guard, and he asks Dark how she knows about that. At first, she tries to dismiss it as general knowledge, but confesses that she read about it when she first applied for the job. White and Brown are left surprised when they hear this, because the two of them were headhunted by the company, while the rest of them had applied for the job. Black claims that the job advertised was offering much better benefits than any of the companies around them. This makes White wonder why the job needed to be advertised in the first place, if it was that good. Brown says that the others have an edge over him and White because they were able to research the company, and he asks Black to tell them about it. When Black doesn't respond, Dark gives him a hint. She tells him that 10 years ago, people started dying due to the spread of a mysterious virus, but a company came up with a virus suppressant that reduced the number of people dying by half, and this company then went on to become one of the top Fortune 500 companies, and its stock jumped up to $60 billion. Brown immediately recognizes the company as Bjork, but tells the group that they had stopped expanding a while ago. However, Dark replies that the company has not announced the hiring publicly, but they have started doing it privately. Suddenly, Black claims that they must have found a cure, which means that there is a job opening for each one of them. Brunette asks Dark if she knows how long FDA, Food and Drug Administration, approval will take if the drug has been created. Dark does not have an answer for her, but this causes White to become suspicious, and he asks Brunette if she has the infection. She assures the group that she does not have the infection, but someone close to her has it. When White forces her to reveal who it is, she tells him that her partner has been infected by the virus, and the reason why she wants to work at the company is because the treatment is cheap for employees. When White hears this, he tells Brunette that she has automatically disqualified herself because now the invigilator knows that she is the weak link among the group. Instead of getting scared, Brunette stands up and tells them that her partner's illness is not a weakness, because she can now tell the company how loyal she will be to ensure that he receives treatment. She then walks up to the guard and steals a lighter from his pocket. She tells the other candidates that they might need to turn the sprinklers on for the question to show up on the paper. She suggests this because she thinks that the room is a dark room, and the emergency lights are red lights that they will need to develop photographs. Black agrees with her plan, and everyone covers their papers as Brunette climbs up on the table and holds the lighter close to the sprinkler. When nothing happens, White hands her a paper and tells her to light it on fire. As soon as the smoke from the paper reaches the sprinkler, it triggers the fire alarm and water begins to spray around them. Black and White hold out their papers, but nothing shows up. Just when Brunette climbs down from the table, she discovers that her paper is missing.
What happens next? A. Dark accuses another candidate of stealing it. B. The candidates find the paper hidden under a desk. C. She comes to know that White lit her paper on fire.
She is shocked to find that White had lit her paper on fire instead of the Chinese girl's. Before she can do anything, the guard grabs her and throws her out of the room. This does not sit well with Black, and he tells White that he's going to beat the light out of him. At that moment, the room goes dark. Brown realizes what has happened and tells everyone that the lights are voice-controlled. Black warns everyone to be careful of what they say next. Besides them, Def starts crying, giving White the perfect opportunity to get rid of another candidate. He bullies Def into tearing his paper apart, causing the guard to throw him out as well, even though no one supports what White did. It does not make a difference for him. Dark tells everyone to stop trying to make him change his mind, because he is a narcissist. This offends White, and as he starts insulting Dark, Black comes up behind him and knocks him unconscious. He is then tied up to a chair with Brown's help. Black tries to send him out of the room, but Blonde reminds him that White will not be disqualified for leaving the room because he isn't choosing to do it on his own. Black takes White's paper and tries to move his hand so that he can ruin his paper, however. Still unconscious, the pencil slips from his hand. Sometime later, White regains consciousness and begs the other candidates to help him take his medication, which he needs to take after every hour. Black figures out that White has been infected and refuses to help him for being a hypocrite. As White loses consciousness due to the infection, tension grows in the room with only 20 minutes left on the timer. Dark claims that White must have been working with Bjork and had joined everyone to keep an eye on them, but this catches Brown's attention, and he accuses Dark of using reverse psychology, a method of getting someone to do what one wants, by pretending not to want it or by pretending to want something else. Brown says that she has been working with Bjork, and it would explain why she knows so much about them, but Dark tells the others that she has researched about the company, just like everyone else. Black agrees with Brown since no one knows about the company as much as her. Brown then ties Dark up using his belt and threatens to torture her if she does not tell them the truth. Shortly after, Dark confesses that she used to work at Bio Pharmaceuticals, but had heard about the job opening and applied like everyone else. When no one believes her, Brown uses his paper to cut her thigh and points it towards her eye, threatening to cut it out as well. Dark continues to beg and says that there is not much she knows. Meanwhile, Brown believes her story and lets her go. At that moment, White begins to get convulsions. Dark tells everyone to give him his pill, but when they check his pockets, they find that they are empty. Blonde asks if anyone hid it, but no one gives themselves up. She suggests that they should search each other to find it. Even still, everyone comes up empty. Dark realizes that since Brown had been a gambler, it is likely that he used a trick to cheat. Sure enough, she finds White's pill hidden under Brown's desk with the help of gum. As she tries to give the pill to White, Brown knocks it out of her hands, and it falls through a small opening. Since no one can reach for it, Dark talks to the camera and tells the invigilator that White needs to go out for treatment. To her surprise, no one comes up to help him, and instead the guard throws her out of the room. Blonde, on the other hand, grabs the pill using her hairpin and gives it to White. As he regains consciousness, he is excited to find that there are only 4 of them left. As payback for Blonde helping him, he tells the candidates that there is no question and that the candidates themselves are the answer. White thinks that the CEO and the invigilator only need one candidate, which is why he has been trying to disqualify them. Just then, he notices a gun on the guard side and rushes to grab it. Before he can take it, though, Black blocks him and takes the gun away. He says that the invigilator never mentioned there only being one job. White starts mocking Black by saying that he will never be able to shoot anyone.
What happens next? A. White dies. B. The gun doesn't go off. C. Blonde jumps in front of White to protect him.
To everyone's surprise, Black ends up shooting White, but luckily for him, the gun does not go off. White tackles Black to the ground and manages to take the gun from him, but notices that the gun needs a fingerprint to unlock it. He uses the guard's finger to unlock it and points it towards everyone, telling them that they need to disqualify themselves before he shoots them. Brown moves to grab his paper and tear it apart, but White does not trust him and tells him to walk out. Not wanting to die, Brown walks out of the room, disqualifying himself. Black refuses to move, which is why Blonde claims that she will leave. Just as she reaches the room's door, she shouts "Lights out," giving Black the chance to attack White. In this confusion, White ends up shooting Black in the chest. Now, with only the 2 of them left in the room, Blonde hides behind the door until the timer runs out. White walks up to the timer and the guard walks up to him. He points to his watch, and when White looks at his own watch, he finds that 80 minutes have not gone by. It turns out that Def had sped up the timer when he had gotten up from his desk. All of a sudden, a bright light appears behind the mirrored wall, but nothing happens as the timer restarts again, because White had talked to the camera asking what the invigilator wanted from him, but he got disqualified as well because he broke the rules. Being the last candidate left behind, Blonde recalls hearing Def talking about looking carefully. She realizes that she needs to use the broken pieces of glass as a microscope. She takes his glasses that he had left behind and a piece of broken glass to look over her paper. She discovers that the paper only had question 1 written on it. She realizes that the only question asked was when the invigilator had asked them if they had any more questions. Just then, Def walks into the room. Turns out that he is the CEO and has been behind the hiring process all along. She hands him the paper and says, "No." The invigilator joins them and congratulates Blonde for getting hired. She tells him that she does not want to work at a firm where killing another man is considered okay. He tells her that Black is not dead since he was given a pill, one that was recently discovered by Bjorg. This pill has the ability to regenerate cells at a very rapid rate, something that everyone around them needs to keep them safe from the virus. As Black wakes up, Blonde finds herself agreeing to take the job, becoming the only candidate to ever pass the tough hiring process. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below how many questions you got right.